Hi, welcome to Thinking in Abstract. I'm your host, Katelynn Laws. In this episode, I will be joined by a guest, Paula Laws, who is my mom. We will be talking about Mark Rothko and his piece from 1950, White Center, Yellow, Pink, and Lavender on Rose. The description for this piece is going to be very brief. It is quite literally the title. It is a rose ground, darker in color on top and paler on the bottom. There is a horizontal yellow rectangle on the top, followed by a black horizontal strip. A white rectangular band is in the center of the painting, and the bottom is lavender. And yeah, thank you for listening to this episode. I hope you enjoy. Hi, I'm here with my mom. Her name is Paula Laws, but I don't call her that because she's my mom. In this episode, we are going to be talking about Mark Rothko, who is an abstract expressionist. His work went from about the 20s to the 70s until he died. He was creating work, but it really gained recognition around the 50s. So we will be talking about a piece from the 50s. But before we talk about the piece, we're going to talk a little bit about ourselves, actually. This summer, we went to D.C., right?
Right.
Yeah. We went to D.C., and what did we see in D.C., Mom?
We saw a lot of things. But we went to the Museum of the Smithsonian, Museum of the Art? What's it called?
So we have a little booklet here, but we went to the National Gallery of Art.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. What was at the gallery when we went that we did not know at all was there?
Mark
Rothko.
I'm on a first name basis with Mark.
Yeah, with Mr. Mark.
But yeah, he was there, and I was like, oh my gosh, one of my favorite artists has a painting here. Several paintings.
An
there.
entire gallery.
Yeah, and I love it.
Yeah, it was very cool because we walked in. We were just kind of wandering around the museum. Dad, Matthew, Noah, they were already at that point. They had already split up from us, right? And then we walked in and we were like, okay, this is kind of the last bit of things we're gonna look at, and then we'll go meet up with them. And then we walk in,
and there
it is, a ton of paintings, and we're like, oh my god,
what is this doing this here?
Yeah. We were not prepared at all.
No, but I think those pieces we looked when we went to New York 1 or 2 years ago.
Yeah.
They were at the MoMA.
Yeah, at the MoMA. Yeah.
So it was nice to see them again.
Yeah. So that was very cool. Do you want to talk about maybe how you felt when you saw them? Because for me, they were a lot bigger than I expected them to be.
They were huge.
Yeah.
Some of them were from, and I mean, the museum has pretty tall ceilings.
Yeah.
So, I mean, they were pretty tall.
Yeah.
I was excited. I don't know, I'm just drawn to his pieces. The colors speak to me. I don't know, I just feel at ease. I don't know what else to say, really.
Yeah.
But I just like the colors that he uses, how they blend in together. Just, I don't know. It's just, I don't know. I really like it and enjoy looking at them.
Which is, I think, really cool because a lot of people don't really enjoy this, I think. Or at least they look at it and they're kind of it's just some colors.
It's just color blocks and what does it mean? I mean, it doesn't have to mean anything.
Yeah, sometimes it can just be the feeling you get from it.
Yeah, I mean, I look at it and it's, to me, I see it and I say, oh my God, I just love that piece.
Yeah.
Like I said, the colors, and I like that color blocking.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I don't know why I do, but I just do.
Okay, would you say that you are a very artsy person yourself? Do you have a lot of experience maybe with formal art, would you say? Or are you just kind of a casual liker of art?
I guess when I was young, I do have I feel like a more artsy side to me.
Yeah.
But as I've gotten older, I've kind of let go of it. And I wish I had not.
Yeah.
But I don't have any formal art training or anything like that. I just guess I'm an art enthusiast.
Yeah. Okay, so
I'm really like happy and excited though when I see you painting. Kind of living through you. It's a horrible thing to say, but I feel if I would have kept up with it, it would be good. It would have been a nice thing for me.
Yeah.
Which, granted, I do paint on canvases sometimes.
Yeah.
Because I do have a few.
In the living room and stuff.
We do.
Yeah.
And actually, we have those ones in the family room.
Yeah.
That are blocks.
Yeah, they're kind of really similar to the way that this is done, because the way that his art is done, it's lots of like layers and stuff, like thin layers, and then he would go and like layer upon layer upon layer, start with a base and then just kind of go from there. And I remember, like, even though it was kind of years ago when some of those were painted, that's kind of how you did it. It was actually like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I started doing it again when you started getting into painting.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, let me try it.
Yeah. And then we like did a little day, like maybe not a whole day, but like a little afternoon of us like painting.
Just painting. That was fun because the boys, we got canvases.
Yeah. From like Ollie's. From the Ollie's discount store.
And we got paint brushes and paint, and I think we just did the boys, we all did a piece.
Yeah.
So that was fun. We haven't done that in a while. We should do it again.
Yeah, because it's fun too, because I think with a lot of this art, it's just kind of like about the human experience and like the emotions of it. Some of this abstract expressionist art, especially for him, was about like capturing the human experience. And I think sometimes that can be part of like actually making the art, is like just enjoying it and having some fun with it. And, at the end, you have something that you like and you have an attached experience to it. And you can be like, you can always look at that and be like, that is a moment that I remember, like, just happiness and like chilling out with my family, me and my kids all together,
right,
doing some family stuff. And then for me, that's kind of almost what I think of when I look at some of his paintings, as I think of that day where we're all like painting and stuff, because it was similar to kind of what we were doing, because you're like, it's okay to just like paint something that you think would look nice, but it's okay to just like paint something.
Yeah, that day I think it was just here's some paint.
Yeah.
Here's some paint brushes. Just put whatever you want on the canvas.
Yeah.
And I think we all came up with something pretty cool to look at. I think we all still have them.
Yeah. And it's always just fun to look at. Even when you're just like laying down in the living room, you can look up at it. Yeah. It's just there on the walls. So it's very cool. So that's a little bit about us and like our experience with art, and even Mark Rothko, like personally. We don't know him personally, but we know his art pretty personally now.
Yeah.
So the specific piece that we will be talking about it's called White Center and then parentheses yellow, pink, and lavender on rose, which was painted in 1950. If you hear any book flipping, that's from my mom has a little booklet. It's
actually a gift, a surprise gift that Katelynn got me, but it's a booklet she got me on his art.
Yeah.
So I guess that's one of the reasons I'm a guest speaker, because I enjoy his art.
Yeah. Piece we're talking about, White Center, Yellow, Pink, and Lavender on Rose, was painted in 1950. But it's in a private collection. It was bought by the royal family of Qatar. Ooh. I think that's how you say it. But it was actually sold for $72.84 million, which set the record for the most expensive post-war work of art sold at auction. And now let's talk about, I guess I have the piece pulled up in front of us on an image, but let's each say, I think, one thing that we like about it. Do you want to go first, or should I go first?
You should go first.
Okay, so I was gonna say I really like the texture of the painting because even like when you're looking at it through a digital image, like you can see the brushstrokes, you can see the layers, you can see like it almost looks like you could like kind of feel the painting like through the image, and I just know like in person it would be even like the texture of it, I'm sure, would be like even cooler, especially with how like large those paintings were, and probably this one as well. But I just really like the texture of it because of the layering. You can really see it take its effect, and it makes the piece seem, I think, a little bit lighter around the center, especially because of the way everything is kind of emphasized and layered out. So I really enjoyed that aspect of it.
I just like the colors.
Yeah? What do you like about the colors? Or is there like one color in here you like best?
I no. To me, they all work.
Yeah.
I mean, you get that burnt orange in the top.
Mm-hmm.
Just that separation with the black compared to the other ones, a very thin layer of black, and then the white, and then the pink again in the bottom with emphasis, like with the purple, well, not purple, orange again. But I don't know. It's just. It's pleasing to the eye, to my eye at least. I wouldn't necessarily like look at pink and orange.
Mm-hmm.
Like if I'm thinking would, like, go like together. I'm thinking of an outfit. Oh, I'm gonna put this pink and orange thing together. I'd be like,
you'd be like, oh, that's a bit too much on like the reds.
But I think what helps too is that black and white
right in the
middle. But then again, on the top in the burnt orange part, you could kind of get hints of the pink, so it brings out the pink, I guess, in the top from the big one.
I think that, you know, with the sizes too, because part of it is just like about like kind of experiencing the painting or whatever, and like how do you feel, what does it make you think of, and that kind of reaction to it. So when it's these huge ginormous paintings too, because I think you definitely don't get the full effect of it online, I think, and even through like some images, but when you see it in person and it's this huge ginormous painting that is bigger than you are, and it's just like a bunch of these colors just kind of like in your face, it just, like, for a moment, you're, like, very, just, like, it's almost like you're in the painting, because they're just, like, huge and, like, just, like, leering over you for some of them, and it's really cool that it does that. What other people may like may be different from what we like about it.
Sometimes I wonder what he was thinking, or what mindset he was in.
Yeah, when he made, like, a specific piece and stuff.
Yeah, so when he was picking these colors, you know, what had he just gone through in his life? Or, you know, what made him put these colors together?
Yeah.
You know, what kind of mood was he in? What was going on?
Yeah.
You know?
And talking about, like, himself and how he was feeling and all that kind of stuff, I have a bunch of stuff about his personal history. Ooh. You want to talk about his personal history?
Go ahead, because I don't know it.
Okay.
I do know he's Russian.
Yeah.
He migrated here from Russia.
Okay. So, yes, he was from Russia. He was born in 1903, and he was born in Russia. His father immigrated to Poland in 1910, and he kind of, like, slowly sent along money for his family. So, like, his two older brothers were the first ones to come over, which kind of makes, like, sense in terms of, like, you know, having other people who could come over and then, like, help him support. And then in 1913, Rothko and, like, the rest of his family, they came over to America. But 7 months later, his dad died, which was unfortunate. And all the kids had to go to work to support the family. So, you know, kind of a little bit of a very intense childhood there, you know, coming from Russia during this time period. So around 1913, 1914, I'm thinking, is First World War.
Right.
So, you know, very tense time. But that being said, he was super, super smart. He excelled, like, amazingly in high school. He completed it in 3 years. And then he goes to Yale.
Right.
So, obviously, like, a very, very smart guy. One of his, like, friends of the time, when they had actually said that he did sketch a lot. And, like, he did some, you know, art, but he had, like, this huge variety of interests. And he was, like, really into, like, literature and theater and stuff. So art at this time, it wasn't really like a main focus for him. He's a very diverse guy.
It's funny because, well, it's not funny necessarily, but you did mention he did sketch.
Yeah.
And he does have a few pieces where he actually, they're not necessarily sketch, but they're not that show people in them.
Yeah.
And I'm not as drawn to those.
Really?
I am not. I don't know why it is. And then he does have others that are kind of, well, they're abstract, obviously.
Yeah.
I'm also drawn to those. But the ones where it's like painting portraits and thing, I'm not so much.
Do you think it could be maybe like the colors kind of used? Because in some of his things that focus a little bit more on the people, the colors are usually pretty gray. They're kind of darker, I've noticed, especially the one you were just looking at.
Right.
Do you think maybe it's a little bit more like with the kind of blockier pieces, because it is kind of absent of any kind of like imagery? It is really just like the shapes and the colors, and you know, there is form and composition, of course, included in it, but it's a bit more like imagery that we know of is kind of removed from it, and it's not super recognizable things. It's just, in a lot of ways, it just seems kind of like the colors and the shape, and you can connect and draw from it a lot more of what you decide you want to.
Possibly.
Yeah.
Because there's also an untitled piece from 1961 where it's just lines, basically. That I look at it and I also, it just, there is no color really other than the canvas and the black lines. Maybe a little bit of shading in there, but I look at it and it just, I don't know, it just calls to me.
Like I mentioned earlier, he was really interested in theater. There was actually a while where he like stopped with art school after he enrolled and like was in classes for a while, and he went back to like his family in Portland and stuff, and he had like joined a theater troupe, and then he said he sees art as that same kind of thing in terms of like the drama and the human experience, and like there should be humanness in that art. Here I have a quote from him. He was at the Pratt Institute, and he told the audience there that small pictures since the Renaissance are like novels, large pictures are like dramas in which one participates in a direct way. He very much believed in like, you know, you directly interacting with his art and drawing something, and like you have to make a connection with his art, you know, kind of, it's a two-way street. Like he shows you the art, but you have to reach out and like work with it to understand it and enjoy it, and I definitely think you're doing that. So I guess a little bit finishing up, talking a little bit about his personal history and stuff. He did not really see a career in art happening for him until he was in New York, and he visited a friend who was in an art class, and when he went to the art class, you know, he really liked what he was seeing in there, and he decided to become an artist. In 1924, he enrolled at the Art Students League. He studied under Max Weber, and he met the modernist painter Milton Avery, whose spare forms and subtle colors profoundly influenced the young artist's direction. So he definitely met people while in art school that probably led to a lot of like what we see now, what people kind of know him for. And then we have stuff where like the Depression happens, and then he's like, he hasn't really made it as an artist yet, so he's doing like odd jobs, and he worked part-time at the Center Academy of the Brooklyn Jewish Center, and he actually worked there from 29 to 52. He worked there for a really, really long time, and he believed that having that connection with kids allowed him to like understand a bit more of that simplicity and like I guess the little bit more of that freedom that kids have, because when you're a kid you don't necessarily have as many rules to art, because he was definitely following the rules and things that we know of art, like form, composition, color, style, balance, that kind of thing. But when you're a kid, I think you're a bit more looser with it, and when you're working with kids all the time, you can kind of stay connected a little bit more to that side of yourself.
Right. And like with the color blocks, you know, when you're kids, they tell you to color inside the lines. Yeah. Well, obviously, when you're little, you don't always color inside the lines.
Yeah.
And when you look at his block paintings, you kind of get that feel too.
Yeah.
That in some of them, he has these outlines where what's painted in the center kind of bleeds into the outside lines.
Yeah.
So, he's painting outside those lines.
Yeah.
So you could see structure, but at the same time, it's loose structure.
And then we get all the way up to like World War II, and he's like pretty unknown at that point. But his art like does a major shift, and he kind of drops like for a lot of it, he drops the figures and like forms, and goes to mythological imagery, and this dominates from 38 to mid 40s, and then in 45 to 50, he hits. For some, it's what people call like his kind of final phase, like what we now best know him for, which are these kind of like color blocks. Are you looking at the dates of some of these now?
I am.
She's been flipping through the book the entire time. I'm sure it'll show up in the audio, but
when Katelynn mentioned, he had the phases that he was going through, so I'm flipping through the book, and sure enough, you could definitely see it.
Yeah.
You could definitely see it. His final phase. It's funny looking through some of these, because to me, whenever I think of him, I think of just the block paintings.
Yeah.
I don't even think of anything else.
Yeah.
Look at that one. I love that.
So we're looking at number 2. Well, it says Mark Rothko number 2, parentheses number 7 and number 20, 1951. What do you like about it, Mom?
I like it. It just like, ooh, stop. I like it. I want to look at it some more.
I like how it looks like bright, like almost like a light is coming from the image, which I think is very, very cool, because of the white kind of blocks and then the green, and it just makes, when it builds up to that white, it makes it like glow.
You know what? Not most. But when I look at some of his paintings, what I think of, it's a Polaroid.
A Polaroid picture?
Mm-hmm.
Kind of because of like the edging kind of on it, or
yeah. Probably, but when I look at them, it's like, ooh, it's a Polaroid. So to me, it's like a modern.
Yeah. I grabbed 3 of my own Polaroids. Yeah, because because of the way the flash is, there's always kind of a brightness coming from a Polaroid image, and it, at least, especially like on my camera.
I don't know when I look at them.
And the kind of like blurry edges to it, because a lot of these aren't hard to find edges. They're very blurry. Yeah.
They almost look like Polaroid frames.
Yeah.
So what do you do with Polaroid? You capture life.
Yeah. Capture a moment of life.
That humanness.
So, do we have any last things that you would like to say about his art?
It makes me happy.
It makes you happy.
Yes, I truly enjoy it. I just look at it and I want a huge piece of his hanging in my house.
Yeah. To me, I like his art, I think, because of you. I don't think I would even really be doing this project if it weren't for you, honestly, because I was definitely, like, of the mind that abstract art was just kind of lame because it's, like, colors and stuff. But you have enjoyed his art for, like, a really long time now, and, like, you really do appreciate it. And I think your appreciation for it made me kind of change my mind and, like, start considering it a bit more than, like, the normal kind of blow-off most people do.
Yeah, because I think first impressions is just colors together. It's blocks of colors and that's it. But I think it's more than just blocks of colors together.
Yeah.
They blend together. They create a unity that might not necessarily have been there before. It's serene. Some pieces give you that serenity. Other pieces are bolder.
Yeah. Some are kind of like a dark stillness almost.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's like the day, morning, a breezy morning.
Yeah.
A sunny afternoon or cloudy afternoon, or a dark evening.
Yeah.
Or a nice sunset. So it gives you plenty of range. So it's not just color blocks to me.
There is something to it.
There is something. It gives it. Each piece has its own feel and emotion to it. I think. I truly enjoy them.
This has been our episode on Mark Rothko. So thank you for being here with me to talk about Mark Rothko.
No problem.
Bye. Do you want to say bye? Bye.